Oh, welcome to the back garbage man. Let's see, what is that? Welcome to the backward. No, that ain't it. It has something to do with back. Maybe backbone. Back thinking. No, that ain't it. Backyard. Yeah, that's it. Backyard professor. That's it. Welcome to the Backyard Professor Chess videos. It's going to be an interesting video this time for the simple reason, actually, I'm not so sure it's going to be a simple reason. It could be a quite difficult reason. Probably not. Welcome to the Backyard Professor Chess videos. Anyway, whatever reason it is, I was up at 4 o'clock this morning because it snowed last night. They said it was going to be a skiff, or several inches. It's a good thing it wasn't several tons of snow. And when it snows, I get to go snow plowing and snow blowing with my wonderful little rotary shovel. Those are great inventions, man. But anyway, I have been up for a long time, and it has been a very busy day. However, I have a chess game to show you guys. You are gonna love this, really seriously. However, I haven't had a chance to really fine-tune it or perfect it, so I have lots of scribble notes and all that, so forgive me if this is a little rough, but there are two or three, 5? Criminy, you know, there's so many features in each chess game that's worth looking at, right? However, in this particular game, there are 2 outstanding features that I just was mesmerized with, and I want to point those out to you as we proceed through this game. In fact, I'm so tired I can't even remember which book I got it out of. I will reference it to you later in the comments. For now, just recognize this is a wonderful, wonderful game. And 2 reasons. We get to be instructed. We are entreated with a more depth analysis, deeper analysis, a more in-depth analysis of a particular point in the game of the board position that I have not yet ever quite seen. That was really cool. I mean, you know how simplistic-minded I am, and because I talk about the central control and stuff like that, the boring blasé stuff, this guy goes into a little bit more deep, broad meaning of the chessboard, and I haven't quite seen it done this way, so this is great stuff. And the other thing about this game that is so simply marvelous, darling, is because we get to see El Dorado Knight take on Le Bishop. And we get to see how knights fight bishops. And it's a great game for this. It really is. This is so instructional to see how each player tries to manipulate their position to make the board better for knights or better for bishops. And it is quite instructive to see how the winner did it. So let's get on with this game. Enough introduction already. You know.
And a 1, and a 2, and a 3. I mean, you know, isn't math grand? Let's get going here.
Okay. D4, knight F6. A fine, stellar start for the steed, right? But knight not to be outdone. Knight F3 shows up. And then he's gonna fianchetto his bishop. You know, the bishop's always gotta take the sneaky corner around, you know. I mean, that's actually true in some real-life bishops' lives, isn't it? If you've known any bishops, I have known a few. I've had good bishops too, though, thank goodness. Some of them, not so much. Okay, bishop g7, we've got the P and kiddo. Bishop f4, we're looking at the London system here for white. This could be a good fight.
And if I get wobbly on my feet, it is because I am really tired tonight. I can feel it in my legs. But I love le chess.
With the London is a lot of the times they will press the black will press both knights out and being kiddo the bishop, and so the London wants to support this center pawn. This is the principle here, and of course they both really usually get off early castling, which is always a good thing. Bishop e2, he's going conservative, another one of the London pushes, although it depends on how black opens. I mean, there's 100 million variations, just like there is in the King's Indian or the Grunfeld or whatever opening you choose. One of the options is the d3, but this one is the more conservative e2, and now they instantly hit the center with the c5. It's okay with this because the c3 is pushed. So the c5 is almost expected. And they have the castling. Now, what is real interesting is, what did I just do? Castle, didn't I? Oh, yes, here. Holy cow, I'm groggy. This could be a spectacular blunder, the whole video, if I put the pieces wrong, man. I'm seeing stars. Sorry. I'm going to try to make this instructive, I promise. This game is good. Maybe I should wait until I'm rested, you know. But the idea here with knight c5, or knight c6, holy shish kebab, holy cowabunga. The principle here is he's trying to provoke the d5 push, because black supposedly has something up his sleeve. And white, what a sucker. Fell right for it, you know. I mean, this is like fishing with lures, you know. Panther Martin lures, you ever fished with those? Those are good lures. Those really are good lures. And here was the point. This is a stable pawn center structure, and so by provoking him forward, it gives the knight the chance to get to c5. Or, I mean, e5.
Gosh dang, man. Come on, dude. Come on. Pull it together.
So the press forward, now he no longer controls the square with the pawn. You say, well, yeah, but he's got it with the bishop and the knight. That's true, but the real good control is because of the pawn also. So this gives black inroads, is the theory. Well, the knight does take the knight. So, good night, sweet prince. Knight takes the knight, and now D takes the knight, threatening the beloved bishop. Well, the bishop's not going to put up with any nonsense. He's going to take the pawn. You know, the pawn confessed to the bishop, and the bishop said, oh, you're going to heaven, so see ya. Right? Okay, whatever. Man, have I missed stuff already? D takes e5. Bishop takes e5. Queen takes d5. Okay, whew. I'm looking at that and it looked like I wrote queen takes e5 and queen can't take e5. Yeah, you know, chess with space aliens. Maybe in the universal chess game that they play way over there in the Andromeda Galaxy, but on this Earth, yeah, anyway. Holy cow. And now queen take d5, so you can see there's a lot of exchanging going on early on, right? And then knight takes d5. Holy cow, there's a lot of exchanging. And I noticed this when I played through the game. And then bishop takes d7, and the king takes d7. We have really gone through some stuff here, haven't we? Well, this leaves black with a central knight, and he can build an outpost if he so desires, right? So we've gotten the important ladies, the queens, off the board here. So it's going to be a miner and rook battle, isn't it? A miner piece and a rook battle, because the ladies are gone. The thing we notice, yes, there are pawns. I mean, actually, there's a lot of pawns. There's still 7 pawns on each side, right? But the board appears to be fairly open, meaning it's not cluttered with a bunch of pawns. So this is kind of interesting. Well, what does he do? He goes rook to d1. Open file. Hit the knight. You know, don't take that crap. Hit the knight. And bishop, again, keeping the tempo, bringing out another piece. The bishop gives the knight support. So you can see they did a complete massacre, and then we're into the build-up phase again. And knight comes to d2, and rook a to d8. He is going to challenge that file. And knight to e4, the very important centralized d4 square. Black has the very important centralized d5 square. Yeah? So this is getting hairy. And b6, he just kind of building up his pawns. And white says, hey, I think I'd like to put my knight there. Real interesting. Knight g5. This gets black reacting somewhat. Bishop c8. Bishop now bumps up to c4, hitting the knight, hitting the f7, with the knight hitting the f7. So remember, with tactics, we want to look at specific areas where they're pointing, right? So black does I mean, you know, when I pointed this out, doesn't it make sense that black saw that, you know, you can see where the pieces are aiming. Doesn't it make sense to put the e6? But this move had a question mark on it. And actually it had a question mark and an exclamation point. So that's different than a question mark. So it's not a blunder, it's a provocative move. And I didn't write a lot of the notes down, I'm sorry. The 2 things that stood out to me is what I'm going to show you tonight. Maybe when I'm rested and tired. Maybe when I'm rested from being tired, I might do this game again when I'm fresh and when I've taken notes and when I play through it 20 times. Might be more important and better than I think it is. But I was real impressed with it this first time through. And now e4. Okay, now here's a beautiful tactic, you guys. Really. Seriously. The knight is pinned. What do you do to pinned pieces? You attack them. Now, you say, yeah, but the bishop was attacking the knight. That's true. But they're more or less of equal value. So it's a much... Because we've got a piece pinned to a piece. I mean, pawns can be pinned too. But with a pawn attacking it, now the pin becomes critical. Does that make sense? Tell me it makes sense, please. Otherwise, I'm going to quit showing you the game. I'm kidding. Okay, so now the pressure is on. And look at this. He simply disregards the pin. He's done trying to reinforce the knight, bring it back. So this kind of gives us some interesting ideas. What did white do? Yeah, white moved on to e5. And there is a question mark here. And then the knight went to c6, and there's a question mark here. Maybe I shouldn't tell you about all the question marks, because you're going to wonder, well, why did you show us the game with all these question marks? We want to know why. I do too, but trust me, this video will be a good prelude to the more in-depth one. He actually says that knight c6 is the losing move in this game. So that was important. And here's why. You'll notice that the majority of black's pawns are on white squares. And he says the losing move allows white to bind on the dark squares. And we'll see this. We'll see this real strongly here in just a little bit. Okay, so f4. You notice he's building up on the dark squares now. And rook takes d1. White wasn't afraid of the rook exchange, but he felt it was better to have the rook exchange down here on his home turf rather than attacking him up there, because this gives him the control of the file. And then he decided he didn't want him to have control of the file. And white said, if I can't control the file and you're going to fight me for it, then neither one of us get the file. So then it's white's turn to take the rook. And black responded by knight taking the rook. Okay, so here we are at this position, and white, what would you... Okay, so, I mean, look, the queens are gone. The rooks are gone. One of each one of the bishops and one of each one of the knights are gone, and there are still a lot of pawns here. So this isn't a board position that we've actually seen a lot in the games I've been showing you, but it probably does occur fairly often. Notice the bishops are the same color, right? So the comment was, nobody would mind if these two grandmasters accepted a draw here. This is the pawn numbers are the same count. The piece numbers are the same count. The kings are basically in the same area, on the same side. Really, that looks like a drawing game. But white demonstrated something over the top spectacular. But here's the first critical position that really caught my attention because of the explanation of this position. He said, white here has 5 advantages. Can you name them? Now, this is a good teaching opportunity. I mean, it's up to you. You can go ahead and cheat yourself out of making a wonderful discovery here, or you can go ahead and play this game with me for a minute. What I want you to do is pause the video for real, and I want you to look at this and you write down what 5 advantages you think white has. Because the first thing that shocked me was when he said white has 5 advantages. In the next breath, after saying, nobody would blame them if they had a draw, if they accepted a draw. 5 advantages. Name the advantages, and then turn the video back on, and I'll explain the advantages. Here is where we get a little bit broader and deeper in our understanding of how to read a chessboard. This is fabuloso, magnifico, yeah? It's a good thing I'm an American, not an Italian, man. I'll bet my I'll bet my, what do they call that when you're, anyway, I'm too tired to worry about. When you're talking a foreign language, what do you call that? Oh my hell, I can't remember anything tonight. My mind's mush. I'll be right back. Accent. Yes, accent. That was the word I was looking for. Accent. Accident. Ancient. Accident. No, accent. Accent. Yeah, accent. You know, like an accent. You know, like a mamma mia. A mamma mia. That's a good pizza. Something I can't eat anymore. I've gained way too much weight. Oh, horrible. Horrible, I tell you. Okay, let's get on with this. This is fun stuff. This is fun stuff. I'm going to try to treat this seriously. No, really. It's time, you know. Enough monkeying around here. We've got chess to learn. So, the knight came to e4. And this is what I forgot to tell you. Sorry. Now, from this position, boy, white has 5 advantages. If you want, pause the video again and see if that changes your ideas. Right? And when you're ready, I shall begin. You ready? Okay. Boy, you know, that was a good glass of water Daniels. Yes, Jack Daniels is for other people who are strong. Me, I drink water Daniels. Yeah, right. That way it keeps my mind clear as dust. Here are the 5 key advantages, and this is fascinating to see this. Thanks to this pawn, more space. This is the author saying that. He sounds a lot like Jeremy Silman to me. That's what made me sit up and take notice of this game. Excuse me, when he was explaining it. I go, oh, that's how Jeremy Silman talks about this. Yeah, yeah. More space thanks to that pawn. That's an important imbalance. In this instance, it is to his advantage. So, black's kingside pawns are fixed on the same color as his remaining bishop. So, black's white pawns will obstruct his bishop, but it gives the white's white bishop targets. Nice. Silman does mention this. Very interesting in his books. Good stuff to read, I'm telling you. Again, white's king can get to the center of the board. Now, in an endgame strategy, you don't want to keep your king tucked away. I haven't talked a lot about that, but really, the king in the endgame, after everybody's gone and wiped out, you know, the queens are gone, the rooks are gone, each one of them only have 1 bishop and 1 knight, so now it's time for the kings to come out because the kings themselves can become a power piece, a fighting force, truly. White's access to the center is faster than black's. Definitely an advantage, without question. Black's minor pieces have strayed into inactivity, while white's are looking really strong. Definitely an advantage here. And finally, the black queenside pawns are not as strong as they seem. They are not as secure as they seem. That's more of a mirage, and this game will show you why, and how he undermines that side is exquisite. Really nice. So let's keep playing here, and let's see how white capitalizes on those advantages. He read the board, and because that he was able to read that board, he recognized, yeah, that's a drawing situation, but wait a minute. I've got this advantage. Oh, look, I've got that advantage. Oh, hey, I've got that advantage. I've got that advantage. I've got that advantage. And when he started adding them up, he realized, yeah, the position is a drawing position, and if you didn't know how to read the chessboard, you might have agreed to a draw, whereas in point of fact, you can have a win. Now, reading the chessboard is that big of a difference. So this is good. So what did black do now? White came back here, centralizing his e4 pawn. Knight, sorry. And black went, okay, h5. It simply helps fixate the pawns on the white, though, doesn't it? That is definitely black's disadvantage, as we're going to see for the rest of this game. It's staggering what a disadvantage that is. This is a key point for us to recognize. Man, if you're in this kind of a position, if you can, if the game's not too late in the game, swap off your bad bishop. Really seriously. Get rid of it. Swap it for a knight. Swap it for another bishop, whatever. Don't keep the same color bishop with the same color pawns on the squares in the endgame. That's bad. That's a liability. So there's a little bit more in-depth, broad thinking of the bishops rather than just always touting the fact that, hey, on an open board, bishops are king. This adds a dimension. And that was one thing I really liked and appreciated about this. Bishop comes to b5. And bishop here bumps up to b7, hitting the knight all the way down toward the king. Knight comes to d6. I hope you saw that. I deliberately refrained from saying anything because that's nice. Knights need squares as outposts that are supported by pawns to be truly effective. This one's on the 6th rank. This is a monster knight. This one is just intimidating this one like crazy. Really, the difference here is magnificent. I don't need to elaborate. You can see the difference. If you were asked to pick a side, would you take black? I wouldn't. There's no way, man. Not, yeah, no. Okay, so let's keep going. Okay, knight d6, and now bishop comes to c6. Look at the cooperation here between the knight and the bishop. That's kind of nice, isn't it? And so he's saying, hey, you want to take the bishops off the board? Bam! A4.
Oh, mercy. Can you see what this does?
This is the beginning of the undermining of black's queenside pawns. Really important. Very good response. Well, the bishop goes back to b7. Black saw that, ooh, I can't take that bishop without making some real problems here. So, and then g3, and he wants to solidify his pawn. Look at that. Look at that pawn chain ending with a knight. I mean, that's better than a Christmas tree topped off with a star on it, isn't it? Now that it's the Christmas season, I can use Christmas analogies, you know. Just live with it, will you? King comes to f8. Now, this is kind of the signal. He says, oh, hey, kings are moving. Okay, let's go. King to f8, king to f2, and now bishop to a8? Okay. Yes. He's got the longest possible diagonal there is to have. do a lot. Look, isn't this one of the advantages we just noticed a few minutes ago, though, for white? One of the advantages is that white is going to be able to operate on the dark squares, meaning this guy is basically useless as an attacker. His strength is minimized. That's a great thing to know in your own games, isn't it? Pay attention to this. This end game is really cool. I love this end game.
Yeah, quit talking, for the love of Sam F. Walton.
Knight C8. These guys are do-si-doing. Knight C6. Here, black is tempting to white to take the knight so that he can take his bishop. And it's a real interesting idea because this is not an effective bishop. And this one really could be. But observe a very interesting, not a contradiction, but a real interesting thing happens here. The knight's dead. And the bishop says, aha! The bishop's dead. And now we're in a bishop-knight game, and the knight instantly starts showing his value. He says, that pawn's out of here. And the bishop says, oh yeah? Well, you ain't the only one that can take pawns. I can take this guy. He's out of here. Gone, Johnson. Knight to C8. The hunt is on. We're going to start getting rid of pawns, right? Maybe. Maybe. Not if the little cotton pickers can scurry like a little ground squirrel, however. He's safe for the moment. Now we see something else very interesting. The kings are beginning to race toward the center of the board, aren't they? King to E3, and then king comes across to E8. But you can see now why white, because of his knight hitting the E7, white had the advantage knowing that his king was going to centralize much faster than the black king. This guy's way ahead of this guy. And it's in the center that the pawn battle is going to begin. Very critical to grasp.
Oh. Oh, this stupid thing. This dang thing will not focus right. Oh, I'm trying to get a cool shot. There, that's close enough.
Is that close enough? Oh, if I just quit worrying about it and get on with the game, for Pete's sake, man. Okay, so the race for the center is on. Knight comes to D6, check. King comes up to D7. Now this is bringing the king in. Knight takes F7. Ha! Off with his head. He's gone. He's out of here. Bishop comes down to C2 to give support to his pawn structure as best he can. Remember, bishops are long-range bishops. In this respect, the pawns being on the same color helps him protect them, but he virtually has no targets. The knight can jump from color to color, so white's going to be able to eliminate more of black's pawns than black will eliminate white pawns. Advantage white knight. Very interesting to see this, isn't it? Yeah. B4. Boom. You remember the powerful pawn structure on the queen side? Totally wiped out. Isn't that interesting? And we said that was an advantage to white. We're now beginning to see him cash in on it, right? fundamentally. And what this does also is this ensures the king's entry at d4. This push takes this pawn away, and this pawn is guarding king 4 in the center, and now white's king can make it through here and oppose the black king. Good strategy, isn't it? That's awesome, man. And sure enough, C, well, you have to take it. C takes d4, the passed pawn's too dangerous. So that makes sense. And of course, C takes d4. Well, that once proud queenside pawn group, gone, huh? Fascinating to see. Good instruction for us to watch this. Oh, so where was I? King c6. King d4. There's the target move right there. White's king made it to the center faster. He will prove to be a stronger fighting piece. Well, now hold on. Don't get all excited. That's a great outpost for the bishop, right? But so? Really? Very interesting. White's king will now enter the dark squares on the king side. And the black bishop here, his own pawns are all stuck on the wrong color. Now that's a bad bishop. And he's stuck with it. Let's keep watching this. Okay. So, knight d6, once again, utilizing that magnificent outpost. Excellent. Bishop bops down here to h3. Literally can do nothing. Damaging. Damaging. Knight to e4. Ah, you see what the knight's going to start doing? Bishop comes up here to g4. And now, knight f6. At this point, because of where the kings are, it's fairly equal, right? What this does, he says, is it seals off the black's king entry at d5. He's now hitting this square. Yes, he's hitting the bishop, but he doesn't want to trade because he wants to win this thing. So, but what he's doing is he's making sure black can't get through here. And he'll never be able to be chased off that outpost. So you notice what the knight is doing. First he's bumping over to here. Then he comes over to here. And between the king, notice the kings are involved. If this king was still down here, he couldn't have stopped him, right? Very interesting. So, king comes back down to e3, and bishop goes to h3. Again, the bishop, man, there's not a lot he can do. King to f3. Here he goes toward the king side to get through on the dark squares. Whoops. Bishop comes back up to f5. Oh, let me make sure I'm doing this right. Yes, king f3, bishop f5, and now g4. Now for the pawn push. Ooh, 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 ooh. H takes the pawn. That sounds like one of those 1970s songs, right? Ooh, 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 ooh. Yeah, now you know why I kept my day job, right? Not only can I not sing very well, but I can't even...
Yeah, whatever.
It's a good thing I'm tired so I can act like an idiot. Let's keep watching this, though. Okay, it's time to get sober. It's time to get serious. Because I'm totally serious. I'm perfectly fine. 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 Boom. Okay. Oh, that hurt. Damn, I got a headache now. Knight H takes G4. Now the knight takes G4. Watch this knight work bounce all around. This is spectacular how this does this. King bumps back to D7. These two are locked, and the fight's over here. Knight F6 check. Again, that wonderful outpost, man. King comes back over here to King 7. King comes over to G3. Here we go. He's infiltrating through the dark squares. This is awesome. King comes over to D8. He's trying to figure out some way, somehow, how can I do this? King to H4. That's the hardest pocket on this whole chessboard. I don't know why. King to E7. Okay, king to G5. You can see him coming through. King to F7. And now king to H6. You notice how he came through on the dark squares. He was able to penetrate because, and we said earlier, that's one of the advantages, because everything is on the white squares of black. And they're fixed on the white squares. Bummer, dude. King F8. And now knight H7 check. King G8. And now knight G5. And king H8. And knight F3. And now king G8 and knight to D4. And that's where black resigned. My suspicion, he didn't say why in the comments. My suspicion is because he's hitting this one, and this one. And it's too much. The king is too far away to stop. The queening square is dark. That bishop won't be able to stop this pawn from going in. That is an excellent illustration for those 2 points. One, we saw the knight in more or less a closed board position that had a lot of pawns, and with those pawns, the strategy of the knight is to use the outposts, as we saw him do there and there and there. As you use the outposts and you're influencing further out, regardless of which outpost, because of the knight, the king was able to get to where he needed to be. The other king was trying to take opposition, and he ended up forking. Very interesting game. So anyway, thanks for watching this difficult and hairy obfuscation. However, really, truly, this game I might do again and show some of the variations. Oh, I've got so many gosh dang gorgeous, wonderful, sumptuous games to show you guys that has so many different kinds of illustrations of different tactics and strategies, that not only with the bishops and the knights, but with the rooks. There are some games, I've got great games that show how the passed pawns work and all that. So as I slowly gather this crap up, or I mean this stuff up, I'll keep showing them to you. In the meantime, remember,
We are all awesome. And we feel good. And we are all happy. Drink more water. Seriously. Drink more water. It makes you feel better. I promise. It's awesome. That's what I'm trying to do. Anyway, I will see you guys in the next video. Don't go away unless you're fully intending on coming back. Because I'm not going away with the intention of not coming back. I'm coming back with more fun, good, excellent games that we get to learn from. I'll see you soon.